All right, let's get started here. Welcome everybody to the Anvil's Boiler Demo Day for 2020. We are all very excited that you all are able to join us virtually for the first time in Anvil's history. Um, Now, my name is Samir Kapoor. I'm one of the directors for the Anvil, and I'll be your host for today. So before we jump into the student pitches from the teams, I want to take a minute to talk about the impact of the Anvil at Purdue University. So to start off, the Anvil is a student organization at Purdue University, and we help transform students' ideas into actual companies by providing them resources, events, and community support. We do a lot at the Anvil. While the Boiler Accelerator program is one of our staple events, we also run events like the Startup Career Fair. We do office hours, have community events like Forge Innovation Nights, and offer a lot of student resources to those on campus. As for our impact for the Boiler, this program has been running for over 6 years. This is our 6th year of running the program. In the history of the Anvil, we founded over 40 startups, and many of those startups have gone on to raise more capital, get accepted into top accelerator and incubator programs, and impact thousands of students per year. I wanted to highlight some of our recent successes at the Anvil. Earlier this year, Mimir, a company that went through one of the first cohorts of the Boiler, got acquired by HackerRank in January of this year. Socio, an event management platform, raised their Series A late last year by High Alpha. And Perceive is a Phase 2 NSF SBIR recipient for that grant. Now, two of the companies we also wanted to touch on that are not in this year's cohort of the Boiler, but still we're really excited to be working with is Glimpse on the left side. They are a product placement platform for products in the real world. They're the winner of Purdue's business model competition, and they are part of accelerated lift to liftoff list. They are the top 25 university startups, and they're going to be featured in TechCrunch pretty soon. On the right side, we have Ladder, which is a labor marketplace for construction, and we're also excited to announce they've been accepted into Y Combinator's Summer 20 batch. As for the rules for the demo day, so each team is going to have 5 minutes to pitch. There'll be 3 minutes Q&A, and you guys will be able to use the chat function to ask specific questions, and I'll be able to narrate that to teams during that Q&A session. All right. If anyone has any questions, they can drop it in the chat function, or they can contact us through contact@anvilstartups.com. We're also sending the Notion link, which you can see the backgrounds of each of the teams, their contact information, and a copy of their deck. Great. All right. Without further ado, let's get started to the teams pitching today. We're going to be starting off with Adviso. Kirit from Adviso, are you ready to go? Great. Let's hear it.
Is an advice from industry professionals to their followers and normal people like myself. The problem that we found is that people send hundreds and thousands of these messages, DMs, or comments to industry professionals and experts without any sort of guarantee or of a response. On the flip side, professionals receive these messages, but because of how cluttered their inboxes have become, they don't have the time nor capacity to actually see or respond to these messages. According to LeadFuse data from September 2019, there's actually a 1.7% chance of a cold email being responded to on the first try. As a result, the solution that we made is a platform that allows people to send messages to industry professionals for a set price and a 24-hour response time. These messages and responses are solely in text format rather than audio and video. We found that our users were more willing to pay a cheaper price for a message in text rather than our professionals having to audio or take a video themselves answering the question. Moving on to our product, currently we've built a website in which we receive the message from a person that we then forward to the professionals to respond to. On the left is an image of what the professional's personal page looks like. It shows the image of the professional as well as their name, area of expertise, as well as the price per message. If you scroll down that page, you see their description and topics, etc. We've also built a professional and mobile application that lists all of your inbound messages, as well as a text field to respond to, and the status of each message. Ideally, the goal is to make it into an app similar to like a chat or messaging app in which you can directly engage with your followers and fans. However, now simply because of the technical capabilities, we've only been able to make 2 separate platforms for our users and professionals. Our target market mainly consists of executives, talent agents, founders, investors, and lawyers. We found that executives have years of experience to share, but at the same time receive many, many questions from people looking at it, maybe enter in their company, industry executives trying to provide information to enter the overall entertainment industry or business industry, and furthermore. Talent agents as well and talent managers have particularly become one of our most successful markets to date, solely because of the amount of people seeking representation or help. It's not necessarily that we're trying to milk these people for money, but rather create a seamless way to engage with these agents or managers in a way that doesn't clutter their inboxes like our LinkedIn and so other social media platforms are. With regards to startup founders as well, many of them have different experiences than executives and also provide valuable experiences to those similar to myself and other than this call who may be looking for those guidances. Investors and VCs, angels are also another market that we're trying to target solely because they have a lot of experience, particularly in the startup world and growing companies, and therefore receive many messages and don't have the time or capacity to respond to them. Finally, lawyers have a very high response rate and can charge incredibly high for an hourly rate. We are aware of platforms like LegalZoom who allow you to ask one question. So similarly, this is similar to that before the lawyer industry, which we haven't tapped in too much yet. Our business model is relatively simple. We allow the first message, 75% of it goes to the professional. So say if the message $10, $7.50 would go directly to the professional and we'll take the remainder. Every recurring message after that, 100% will go to the professional and we'll take nothing. The reason for this is that we want to encourage professionals to actually engage in conversations rather than just copy and pasting their response to multiple participants. With regards to our traction till date, like I mentioned earlier, we've built a web MVP as well as a professional app. Our professional roster is 12 total, 5 in business, 2 in film, 1 in music, and 4 in the startup scene. So just to give you a brief background on how we approached Adviso, we started on February 1st with a phone call model, which you pay upwards of $75 to $100 just for a 15-minute phone call. We saw very low traction with that, so we switched over in April 8th to the pay-per-reply model, which it is now. In the past 4 days since we officially launched the pay-per-reply model, we've already received 6 messages, 1 recurring at $10 per message solely with beta testing with only 1 professional. So although it isn't a lot, it shows that there is some traction, especially since we've only done it with 1 professional so far. With regards to our competitors, the main competitors that we see are LinkedIn, solely because of their in-mail function. Now, although unique as in-mail is, it actually does the exact opposite of what we're trying to do. It allows you to get your money back if a person responds to your message. So if you continue to message people and don't get responses, you're essentially wasting your money, which we found is the greatest pain point. And as well, LinkedIn also takes all the revenue from the messages, so nothing goes to the professional. However, ours, like I mentioned earlier, is the 75% ratio. Community and Cameo are both in the influencer / celebrity scene, so we don't see too many competitive areas with them. However, in the future, they may branch into our space as well. Thank you all very much for your time. I'm happy to open up to questions. There's my website and my email link down below.
Great. Thank you, Kieran, for that. We have a question. Can you talk a little bit about the pricing and how you came up with that?
Sure. So the pricing is actually completely dependent on the professional and what they want to set their price as. So many of our professionals initially set it at a $5 price point. And then when they continue to receive messages, they actually bumped up to 10. So it's completely up to the professional to set their own price. We do nothing with regards to setting your own price.
Great. Thank you. We have a question. How do you ensure quality of the responses?
Sure. So we actually will send out a personal either MPS form or some sort of feedback form after each message between the professional and the user, so that the user can actually let us know how they felt about the experience. It's less that we're guaranteeing you any sort of job or placement or anything like that from a response, mainly just the response itself. And if we continue to see negative feedback from users from the same professional, we'll definitely look into those responses and see if they're actually putting time and effort into the responses.
Great. In the chat, we have another one. How do you deal with variance of complexity and price? easy questions versus harder questions?
Absolutely. So we've initially didn't set any sort of character limit on the messages you can send. And naturally, our most two recent questions were about 2, 3 paragraphs long. We found that a big pain point. So we're thinking about setting some sort of character limit on the messages that come in so that's not anything too overbearing. And I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but if you don't want to respond to a message, the refund goes completely directly to the person's uh, account that the user paid for. So there's no actual guarantee that you'll respond to it, but if you don't want to, you don't have to.
Great. One more question. How do you deal with unsatisfied clients? How do you qualify an expert?
Absolutely. So experts have all been moderated through myself and the rest of my team and kind of filtered based on their experiences. So we can't just let anyone join the platform. We have to make sure that they have a strong social following, at least, or have some sort of experience in the industry. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we'll have some sort of vetting process after they send out their messages to users so that users can give feedback on the quality of the message, the length of the message, and if they're satisfied with the platform.
Great. And how is this different from Deep Bench?
Deep Bench, we haven't looked in too much, but ideally the platform would be different in that you're guaranteed response compared to other platforms that are out there so far.
Great. And last question we have, I'm amazed at the person's already offering services on your website at low prices. Are they doing this as a charitable offering? I think professionals would go for more like $100 to $200.
Absolutely, and that's definitely a great point. The charitable offering is definitely a segment of the market that we've explored, especially in this crisis, because it's hard to kind of charge people to pay them, especially given how hard it is to generate revenue at this time. So we've talked about the charitable offering because of it being a text message and how easy it is. Professionals weren't comfortable charging that high of a price, like $100, $200. For the phone call method, like we talked about earlier, that was definitely a possibility for a 15-minute call to charge upwards of $150. But for a simple text message, many of them felt that 100 was too much. And a couple of our professionals are actually charging it for free just because they want to engage with their followers, but don't want to have the spam of sales pitches in their inbox.
Great, thank you. That's all the time for questions we have today. Once again, if you'd like to contact any of the teams, we've sent a link out, the bit.ly link. It was in the chat I sent earlier. It's also in the email. Next up, we have Traction. Traction, you ready to go?
Yep. Can you all hear me and see
Yep.
the screen? Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Am I just ready to go whenever?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Xiao, and I'm the co-founder of Traction. We're building a platform that provides all-inclusive digital travel guide for millennials and Gen Z leisure travelers. Have you ever traveled somewhere and come back just to realize that you missed something? Maybe it's because you didn't plan your trip, or if you do, maybe it's at one little cafe around the corner of your hotel that turns out to be the go-to places for restaurant. Now, I love to travel. I've been to more than 40 different cities around the world. I used to travel with my family that were planned by traditional travel agencies. Those trips were normally planned from early morning to late night. It was very tiring, but lots of Asian parents love it because they wouldn't miss anything. So when I came to Purdue, I started to plan my own trips during breaks. And I knew exactly that having a tight schedule is the last thing I want. I soon realized why my parents chose those agencies because it takes hours to plan a trip. I had to know which flight makes the most sense and make sure my hotel wasn't too far from the main attractions, yet affordable too. Ultimately, it took me around 10 hours to plan a 4-day long trip from researching to finalizing the itinerary. In fact, in the United States alone, more than 1 billion hours are wasted by roughly 25 million travelers on trip planning. And my trip ended up looking like this. So you should know that there's no chance for me to become an artist anytime soon. And there are many travelers out there that have similar experience. To be honest, I would really rather spend those time to rewatch Friends. So this is where Traction comes in. You can do everything from researching to planning in one place. You can mix and match special deals or activities to plan your trip efficiently. We won't be like other online travel agencies that keep forcing you to buy stuff. We actually give you honest recommendation on where you should visit based on your preferences. Like you don't need to buy a tour just to see the beam in Chicago, but that's often what TripAdvisor does. Or a platform where you can find content powered by traditional travel agencies around the world. Users can find offers ranging from flights, accommodations, activities, or restaurants. I understand that in the United States, traditional travel agencies are not as popular as they are in Asia, but we are utilizing their proven expertise to help travelers around the world to plan their trip. Think about Starbucks back in the 80s when Howard Schultz brought the Italian coffee shop concept to the US. These agencies often provide exclusive deals that you simply can't find online. They specialize in different regions on where to go. We unlock their knowledge and let travelers from the United States and other parts of the world to customize their trips. So far, we have 5 traditional travel agencies who will be partnering with us. Traditional travel agency could tap into customer base globally as they list their offers on our platform. They are losing market share to companies like Expedia or TripAdvisor. We can help the agencies to coexist with those online providers and increase their revenue with customers all over the world. At the end of the day, our traveler can build an itinerary effortlessly with a combination of packages from agencies or pick out activities individually. These actions can all be done on a single platform. And yes, a much better looking itinerary too. We also have a mobile app for our travelers as they visit different places. We'll give them insight on their surrounding area and help them find things to do or food to eat on the go. In fact, we have built an iOS app around this concept. It is a fusion of Tinder and Yelp. Instead of swiping for people, you swipe for restaurants. We will provide suggestions for our users if there are extra time for them to visit a nearby attraction or simply book a restaurant that matches their taste. We could give you live recommendation for things to do based on your location as you take on spontaneous trips. It is essentially your personal travel assistant. Our user can use our platform at no additional cost. We will be charging 2% commission fee on each successful transaction from travel agencies. We could collect $25 average fee that result in a $180 million market. Comparing to other online providers, they are charging 15% for each transaction. So we believe that we can acquire vendors with our cost structure advantage. We can slowly increase the fee as we gain more travelers on our platform. This is our team. Arthur and Marie's code while I work on business development. We will continue to build our product and get ready when the economy reopens. We would like to ask for $20,000 investment to acquire more vendors, customers, and providing travel insurance for our users at no additional cost. Traveling used to go through different agents because they take care of everything. Internet took over 20 years ago with low price, but we ended up spending hours to plan a trip. Traction will be the next wave of transformation in travel industry because we take care of everything and keep it at a low price for everyone. Thank you so much for your time, and the floor is open for questions.
Thank you, Xiao. We have a question coming in. How has the pandemic kind of affected you guys and your plan?
Yeah, so the pandemic, we plan to start testing our product later in June or July originally, but because the pandemic has come around, so we weren't able to test any product as all the travel are being banned. So our plan right now is to focus on the product development and try to onboard as many travel agencies as we can while building up our social media presence by running a few campaigns like sharing photos or enter the draw for gift cards, something like that, to build up the customer site and the travel agency provider at the same time. So when the economy reopens, we can just send out a message to everyone and tell everyone that we have launched our product.
Perfect. Could you talk more on the business model? Who actually pays you?
Yeah. So in our business model, our user wouldn't have to spend any extra money to use our product. But on the travel agency side, we'll be taking 2% commission fee for each successful transaction early on. When we compare to other competitors in like API providers, they are all charging 10, 15% or upwards. So we believe that this 2% commission can help us acquire more vendors early on and really build up the traffic to our website. Then we can raise the fee later on and still benefit both our travel agency provider and ourselves.
Great. We have a question. Can you show a demo of your product?
Yes. So we have a demo here. It's just a quick overview of what the whole product could look like.
We can't see your screen.
Oh, really? Okay. Here we go. Yeah, so this is a quick overview of what the whole product could look like. So you can select flights, hotels, activities, and essentially an itinerary can be generated. And when you check out at the end, everything can be taken care of without visiting a few other websites.
Great. We have a few questions on, can you spend some time on the differences between Traction and competitive platforms, and how is your offering different than other options like G Adventures or Interpreted Travel?
Yeah, so when we compared ourselves and other competitors, we kind of categorize them as traditional travel agencies and online travel agencies. The online travel agency would go into like Expedia or TripAdvisor. The good thing about traditional travel agencies is that you tell them what you want and they will do everything for you, but you will have to pay additional fee for it. Whereas on the online travel agency platform, they give you options, not solutions. You had to choose on your own and really plan out your trip at the end of the day. So in terms of time saving part, we can compete against those dominant online providers this way. And in terms of affordability, online travel agency can leverage their traffic to buy a lot of things in bulk. So we believe that over time, when we have more customers, we can compete with them as well. Whereas on the diversity choices, online travel agencies, they can aggregate information from all over the world. Whereas traditional agencies couldn't do that because they're more specified from a single place to various options, to various destinations, like United States to Canada, United States and Mexico, something like that. Whereas when we aggregate all these traditional travel agencies from all over the world, we open up that diverse option for users to choose from. And with a regional knowledge advantage, because we are aggregating these traditional travel agencies, they have specific knowledge in different area. So whereas online travel agencies couldn't do that, they just provide you option from all over the places, but they don't really give you much professional insight on what could happen. And at the end, with the automated itinerary generation, you simply can't do that with any online travel agencies right now. You have to do it offline, either in the Excel spreadsheet or Google Doc. But we will be able to provide this feature to help travelers to save their time.
Cool. Thank you. That's all the time for questions we have. Thank you for pitching. Next up, we have Sir Cal. If you're ready to go, Sir Cal, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Sure, 1 second. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Natasha, and I'm the CEO of SirCal, and I'm here today to talk to you about our product. During the Boilermaker Hackathon, our team brainstormed this idea because we found it very difficult to find free time between multiple complicated schedules. There was endless back and forth, which took hours of time, which should have been used to get work done. The place with the most complicated schedules can be found in the workplace. There are parents, young adults, people of all ages with various start and end work times, making scheduling very complicated and time-consuming. With more research, we found that almost $4 billion have been lost to unproductive meetings, and 4.8 hours are spent per week per professional in trying to schedule meeting times. And so we decided to pivot our product to a B2B marketplace. This is where SirCal comes in. SirCal is a smart automated software allowing businesses to plan meetings instantly based on input preferences. Our software reduces the time and energy needed to schedule a business meeting and leaves more time for productivity. After looking more into the market, we realized how large it is. About 11 million meetings take place every day. As for potential customers, there's about 32.5 million companies and 29 million small to medium businesses in the US. Even if we only acquired 1% of our target market, we will still have hit almost 300,000 companies. Our biggest competitors right now are currently Doodle, Acuity Scheduling, and Calendly. They all have a big customer base to start with, but they each require some degree of manual work. Our competitors require some extensive degree of manual work, of free times, and endless back and forth to schedule a meeting. For example, Calendly, a widely used software, requires both ends to select times they are free, and the meeting is only scheduled once everybody replies. SirCal gets rid of any back and forth with this automated capabilities. Going more into depth into our product, it is split up into 3 main components: the ability to create teams, syncing calendars within and between teams, and creating meetings. When a user logs in this case, it's Sarah, an iOS developer, they will see their dashboard. Here, Sarah can view everything that she has to have on her schedule for the day. This isn't meant to replace a regular calendar, but more to manage the workplace. Let's say she wants to create a meeting. Then all she has to do is click this button, and a dialog will pop up asking which day she'd like to schedule her meeting for. It will prompt her for key employees, meeting duration, and a name. She simply asks to find the available times. Here, SirCal will sync everybody's calendars and list the free and optimal times for them to have a meeting. All she has to do is select one, and the meeting notification will be sent out to her colleagues. Another useful feature of SirCal is pre- and post-meeting agendas, because we know how important it is to have a productive meeting as well. Pre-meeting agendas encompass what will happen in the meeting and what employees can expect. Post-meeting summary allows attendees to submit anonymous feedback on how it went, so the meeting organizer can improve. SirCal's business model is SaaS, where pricing is based on the number of employees in the company. We estimate about a cost of about $2 to $5K annually per company, but it will vary from customer to customer. Our go-to-market strategy will include communities such as word of mouth and setting up booths and client testimonials, online through social media, and partnerships with similar companies such as Slack, Skype, and Zoom. This is our team. We are all CS majors at Purdue University with varied interests. Some of the traction that we've gained include winning the Boilermake Hackathon Prize for direct admission into the boiler, and 5 potential companies ready to test our product and provide feedback. Our ideal customer is a small to medium team-oriented and well-connected company. While SirCal can be applied to most places, it's best fit with those requiring remote work and that rely on internal operations. We are currently looking for mentors and/or investors who can help us grow our customer base to at least 10 businesses. Thank you for your time, and if anyone's interested in SirCal, please feel free to connect with us afterwards.
Thank you, Team Circle. Now for some questions. One question we had is, do you assume everybody has their calendar up to date?
So we do assume that, but all it does, SirCal will take care of that. It's automatically synced. So even you could still we'll add a feature where you can still create another event on SirCal, but it assumes, yes, that you have your calendar updated.
Great. We have a question. Most executives constantly juggle their calendar. How does that play into your business model?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Most executives constantly juggle their calendar. How does that play into your business model?
I'm gonna pass this question over to Anisha.
One second. Can you repeat that question again?
Sure.
Not
Most executives constantly juggle their calendar. How does that play into your business model?
So our business model is mainly to be able to sync with multiple different calendars at the same exact time. And SirCal allows this ability, as you heard before, to connect with multiple calendars, and this allows us to use multiple different interfaces.
Great, thank you. Do you plan to integrate the product with other products like Slack and calendar apps?
Yes, we do plan on doing that. We do think that that's a good feature to have. We're currently planning on starting with Slack and Zoom and the most used calendars, allowing them to sync between Google Calendar, iCal, and Microsoft.
Sure. We have a question. Most companies use Google Cal or Microsoft Exchange and Office 365. So internal meetings are somewhat solved. External meetings are more of a fit for Calendly. Is there enough room for another player, or more specifically, what makes you much better than Calendly?
Well, we're focusing more of an internal meeting. Rather, Calendly just is more external, like I mentioned before, where Calendly, literally every single meeting attendee has to respond with the time that they're free, and there's no guarantee that they're all going to be free at the times that you put down that you're free. So what SirCal does is that when you sign up, you put in the times that you're normally free for like a meeting, and then that's able to be changed later when you create your meeting. And it will just sync everything and find the optimal times based off of what your meeting attendees have put down too.
Okay. And we have a last question. Given 3 big competitors, do you expect them to move in this direction?
There's always a chance, but I don't think that that's like where they're headed. It does not look like they're headed in that direction, but considering that we're all CS majors, so we can get this product out into the marketplace fairly quickly. So I don't think they'll beat us to it.
Great. Thank you guys. Thank you, Team SirCal.
Thank you.
All right. Well, now is a good time to pause and talk about a little bit more about the Boiler program and what we're actually doing, what the teams have actually been doing these last few months at Purdue, and as their transition to virtual. Every week, teams had office hours. We also brought in alumni, Purdue alumni, VCs, experienced entrepreneurs and founders who had a chance to talk one-on-one and give some really great advice to different teams. We've continued this all throughout the semester, as well as we continued it when everything went virtual. But yeah, we're really excited, and we're really thankful to have a great cohort and really appreciate their work over the last 12 weeks. If anyone has any questions about the Anvil, what we do, I would be happy to take that. As well as if anyone has any inquiries for the Anvil, our email address is contact@anvilstartups.com. We're always happy to work with other organizations, firms, about any partnerships or collaborations. All right. Next up, we have a team called Locarum. If you guys are ready to start, we are ready when you are.
All right, thank you. Let me share my screen. All right. All right, so my name is Marcus Orchu, and I want to talk a little bit today about Locorum, and it is a civic enhancing platform for local counties and their elections. I am the founder, and my email is admin@locorum.app. So a problem that I've noticed within the local county level is that on elections that don't include state and federal offices, we see diminished local election voter turnout. We see, primitive access to election data just at the local level in general. And then we see scarce education about local elections, their offices, and their candidates. The solution I'd like to propose is a cross-platform mobile app for iPhone and Android. You can see a few screens up here, and the core functionality is to deliver election results in real time via push notifications. Here are a few other screens, a couple other features as well. We want to include candidate profiles in which candidates will be able to post like stances on certain issues and, short bio. And in turn, this will allow citizens to become more involved and educated about who they're voting for, especially for local candidates that don't have the budget to express their platform as much. And then we also want to condense the most important election registration data and polling stations, information like that. We want to condense that into a checklist in which citizens will be able to easily navigate. Now, before I talk more about the product, I want to talk about Lake County. Lake County is my home county, and they are also our first client. We've been working with them since 2018, and we've done pilots with them. And the things we've learned is that demand coming from citizens definitely exists. And there have been things that citizens have been requesting, like certain resources, and we've been working to integrate that with our new app. We also learned that word of mouth and official channels are extremely effective for letting citizens know about an app like this. We had social media ads planned, but I couldn't release them because I wasn't 18 yet. And expansion for a product like this is definitely possible. We've gotten requests from counties that learned about something like this, and we reworked the whole system with scalability in mind. So speaking of other counties, our market size is pretty much the size of how many counties are in the country. There are 3,031 counties in the United States. And once we expand our presence and our features, we also want to target the 90,000 other local government units that exist in the United States. Competition, we do not have any competing products with similar characteristics. It might be a shocker, but there are none that are a mobile app and deliver election results in real time. If a competing project emerges, we beat them with market share and innovation. We want to encapsulate the market as soon as possible. And while we do that, we want to increase the innovation that we have in our features in the app and the system. Barriers to entry to sell to government bodies is significantly higher than B2B and B2C due to the fact that in some instances, you have to be an approved vendor. And since we have that edge and we know a few companies that are approved vendors for many counties, this will give us an edge. Our business model, we want to charge counties per election based on a fixed rate that they lock in once they join the platform. We charge counties for additional marketing to their citizens to inform them that they have purchased access to a system for them, and potentially charge candidates for additional features that will allow them to interact with their following better. Why us? We have experience in providing innovative mobile solutions. We are backed with 15 years in experience in government software from my advisor. And we've, as I said earlier, we had success at Lake County. Our go-to market plan, we want to contact counties directly. We also want to secure the deal with them. And then we want to market to the county citizens if they choose to purchase that additional package, or we do it for them. Our timeline for this year, we want to conduct a pilot during the 2020 primary. We want to develop features and infrastructure after that. And then we release for public use during the 2020 general. Our founding team, I am a cybersecurity undergraduate studying at Purdue University, and Mark is the CEO of Next Generation Solutions, a company that does county software. I'm looking for connections to the industry for their mentorship and connections to VCs for raising capital after June 22nd for the fact that I think the pilot on June 2nd will give me a better understanding of what I need. I want to open the floor for questions at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. We have a question. How many customers have expressed a willingness and ability to pay, and how much per election? Is this a new budget line item, or are you taking over an existing budget?
So obviously we have Lake County as a client. We've had interests coming from 2 counties, and the ability to pay and how much per election. We estimate that a county with around 300,000 citizens will pay around $3,000 per election. We will introduce early bird pricing for those counties that will come to the platform sooner than other ones. And I'm not sure what you mean by new budget line item. If you could elaborate on that, I would be happy to answer that.
Great, thank you. Will the platform include voter info guide? Will it include additional information or propositions on the ballot?
Okay, so we will generalize most of the information based on the state, and then we'll allow counties to provide their own information on how to vote and polling stations. We will have forms that will allow them to look up voter registration and polling stations. And we will definitely have additional information about things like propositions and things like that.
Have you considered enabling donations through your platform, revenue for you via commission, and greater incentivize for politicians and counties to join?
That's a great idea. I've been thinking about doing a module in the app for campaign finance. And if I were to successfully implement that and that was being used, I would definitely enable donations to be accepted for candidates. I think that's a really great idea.
Great. And then there is a product that was suggested to do in the chat. This looks great. Since counties are your clients, what are they saying they need your help with, and how are you addressing them?
So currently counties are giving election data at their county level in a pretty like user unfriendly format, and they also complain about people's like smashing and the refresh button on that page because it's hard to know when it updates, and in turn that causes traffic problems for them. And also the election board gets so many calls, and they have press waiting at the county building's doors and things like that. And I feel like this app will give better insight to when updates come in, and alleviates most of the friction that comes with these interactions. And since we're in a society where we're affected by a pandemic and we can't really go to the county anymore, it's pretty much closed at this point, I think an online platform will help give people the most up-to-date information without risking contamination and the election board's time if we weren't in a pandemic.
Sure. And the last question here is will platform for voting, which needs to be viewed as a candidate neutral conflict with candidate paid use platform? The question is in the chat.
I'm trying to understand it. Okay. So the platform we are going to try to be completely bias free. We are going to offer the same opportunity for all candidates regardless of their stances. I believe that in that heavily. And candidate paid use platform. I think from my understanding, I think you mean like the paid features that I mentioned for earlier, like this would not be like boosting them like over other candidates. I'm thinking that more as like tools to interact with them, such as a conversation tool or maybe a live streaming tool, or we're still in the works for thinking about those potential products.
Okay, great. And you did have another question. You can chat that person privately, but we are going to move on to the next team.
Thank you.
Next, of course, thank you for pitching. Next up, we have a team called Develop, and you guys are good to go. Looks like you're on mute. Are you guys ready to screen share?
Yeah, I think it'll be just 1 second. Our person presenting, it looks like he's having troubles with his laptop at the moment. Would it be possible to pitch after? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, sure. My bad. We're gonna get to Camarero.
Okay, sounds great. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna start. So how many times have you been to a restaurant and you've had problems, for example, waiting for the waiter, for example, to get the check or to grab his attention, or having miscommunications with him? This is pretty common in our daily life, going to a restaurant, but it actually has far-reaching consequences because it turns out into economic losses for the owner in the end, as we will see later. So this problematic, we tried to solve it in Spain 5 years ago, but to be honest, we failed. Nevertheless, 5 years later, we have seen that this problem hasn't been efficiently tackled yet. And since we have the know-how about how the restaurant industry works and also about the problematic, we were thinking it needs to be solved. And we wanted to retry it again and reformulate the problem. So these are the pains that we have identified in the restaurant industry. First, as I have already mentioned, unpleasant timings, as you can see in this basic example. And also unpleasant timings, in the end of the day, leads to few turnovers, and few turnovers lead to less economic revenue at the end of the service of a restaurant at night. We also assume that there are language barriers between customers and staff, and also that sometimes there are miscommunications between the staff inside the restaurant. And finally, we are departing also from the assumption that restaurants don't make decisions based on the most accurate data, because basically they don't have it with the management tools that they have nowadays. So after interviewing many restaurants and from restaurants, managers, staff, and customers from different regions, we have validated all these hypotheses. And as a result, there is a problematic that needs to be solved. And this is how we solve it. So imagine that you as a customer go to a restaurant that has the Camarero system inside. And then the application Camarero, you open it, and then this application turns into the application of that restaurant. And you can see the menu in the language of your phone with descriptions and figures. You can ask for the waiter. You can see the check. You can pay the check, and you can also order. This kind of application will lead to data that the restaurant couldn't access before, and the owner couldn't access before. For example, pairings between products per demographic, etc. And also, we are providing to the staff with the necessary tools so that there is a real-time communication between the staff and the consumer and the customer. So with this product, we satisfy the following value propositions. For the customer, we are gonna focus on their satisfaction by reducing the waiting despair and removing the language barrier. For the restaurant, we are gonna increase the table turnover, reduce time, and provide a real-time communication. And for the owner, we are going to provide comprehensive and accurate data that he couldn't access before. You can see by many studies that $799 billion were invested in systems technology sales for the industry. And also, we can see that the restaurant industry is a growing industry every year. And as a result, if we focus on independently owned restaurants, mainly devoted to casual dining and family style dining, there are many restaurants that can be key targets for an application and a system like the one we are proposing. And given that we need to target managers and also customers, Camarero requires a twofold offline and digital marketing strategy that I can talk about it if you have any questions later on. As far as revenue stream is concerned, we are gonna charge the restaurant a subscription fee to have Camarero system inside the restaurant. We are gonna put advertisements in the application so that whilst the restaurant is loading, the advertisements will appear. But finally, we are gonna get a percentage commission of tips, which from the total of 25% commission fee from every tip total. And you might think this is a little bit counterintuitive, but given metrics that from the previous experience in Spain, and also data from QuickServe, Rom, SnapPass, and Zios, which are main competitors, as I will explain later, we have seen that the average transaction value with a system like Camarero is increased. And therefore, with Camarero, and despite we are taking percentage out of tips, they are even going to get more tips out of it. These are striking testimonials from managers, staff, and customers that we have interviewed. As a matter of fact, we can see that 80% of the surveyed people would use an application like the one we are proposing. And apart from this, we have been signed a letter of intent from a restaurant here in Lafayette to be the first test restaurant to use Camarero. As far as competition is concerned, we might not be the most expensive, nor the cheapest software tool in the whole restaurant industry, but nevertheless, as you can see here, we have done an exhaustive competition analysis, and we have seen that we are the most comprehensive one and with the most competitive advantages. Why? Because we need to tackle the problem from the three vertices: the manager, the waiter, and the customer. It's the only way you are gonna tackle these 5 problems in an efficient way. Up from December 2019, we have a fully qualified team. We have a customer discovery from the previous experience in Spain. We have a pivotation, and we have USA partnerships and first restaurant. And the next steps will be to find accelerators opportunities and to find test restaurants to use Camarero. So thank you very much. My name is David. I'm a PhD student here in Purdue of Aerospace Engineering, and I will be happy to answer any question.
Great, thank you. Now on to some questions. What is different with this approach versus the one you tried before?
Okay, to be honest, the one we tried before is the customer discovery that we did was not as exhaustive as it should have been. This is the first thing. And we were departing from a passionate idea about how to implement this kind of application in the restaurant industry. But the thing is that we have seen that many of the features that we developed back in the days were not necessary they were not necessary. For example, we found out in the customer discovery that despite everybody has stock management, they don't use it. So we had a stock management, but since this application was 5 years ago developed, we needed to update the whole system, and we have removed many of these features. And focused on the main pains that the restaurant industry is having.
Sure, thank you. Question, how does this scale?
How this scale? Let me show you here. Okay, yes, sorry. I have here the backup slide. So as you can see here, as I have explained before.
The presentation is a black screen right now.
Oh, why? Let me share again, sorry about that. Can you see now again?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, sorry about that. So as far as restaurant managers, for the strategy, we are going to generate demand by focus on awareness campaigns. We are going to generate leads through partnerships and events, and we are going to have the retention by means of service support. And as far as users of the application is concerned, we are going to generate demand through offline and social media channels, and we are going to promote usage through partnerships and loyalty programs.
Could you spend some more time on the competitive analysis and how you are different, as there have been several attempts at solving this problem, but nothing ubiquitous yet?
Okay, for sure. First, that the applications nowadays, I mean, for example, QuickServe, let's focus on this one, which is it's an application that is working in England. The thing is that they are doing it mainly getting rid of the waiter when they are not including him. And also that they have the application and they don't provide a good enough software tool behind in order to manage how the application and the real-time communication between all the vertices inside the restaurant is going on. Also, I mean, we believe that it's completely necessary to have a whole system together that talks to each other. For example, let's say that something has run out at the end of the day. You know, if you have a real-time communication, this disappears, and then the application doesn't show in the menu that this item is there anymore. So real-time communication is very important. The big data gather is very important. Also, it's also important to use a user-friendly interface that is intuitive. Also, as you can see here already in this screenshot, the application QuickServe is not as intuitive as it may seem. Other applications, like for example, Roam, they have devoted only to pay the check, but they are taking fees out of the restaurant margin. Therefore, the barrier of entrance when you are taking fee of a restaurant margin is much higher than if you are taking it from another place. This is also something that it needs to be taken into account. And also, one thing that we have discovered due to customer discovery is that only with a restaurant subscription fee, the business wouldn't be sustainable. We needed a scalable revenue stream that it comes directly from the revenue, from the tips. And also, finally, that we are going to create a community network that is going to connect restaurants with customers. There is nothing like this right now.
Thank you for that. Appreciate your pitch. That's all the time we have for questions.
Okay.
Next up, we have Pathfinder. Pathfinder, please go ahead and share your screen.
Yes, thank you. All right. You present. Good afternoon. I'm Elon, co-founder of Pathfinder Guidance, and we are bringing college advising into the 21st century by developing a platform that optimizes a student's plan of study and so much more. In 2020 at Purdue University, every student is required to meet with their advisor at least once a semester to plan their classes for next semester. Most majors sit with their advisor for 20 to 30 minutes and discuss which courses they need to fulfill their requirements and progress to their degree. The problem is, we do this using sheets of paper and a whole lot of double checking. One paper outlines what a standard degree looks like, and the other is a very confusing list of all the classes that can fulfill these requirements. How is it that in the 21st century and at one of the most innovative schools in the world, do we curate the education of every individual student using a standard model, a paper list, and all in 20 minutes? But if college students are spending 4 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars on tuition, there just needs to be a better way to get the most out of their college degree. After a lot of initial concepts and speaking with students to really understand the core of their problems, we honed in on the best way to help college students from an individualized yet all-inclusive approach and came up with what we call Pathfinder. Pathfinder Guidance is a platform that enables college students to optimize a plan of study based on ever-changing goals and interests, as well as a tool for academic advisors to encourage a modern workflow between the staff and students. We're helping students and universities by significantly decreasing average credits taken and increasing the very important four-year graduation rates. To give you a better idea of what Pathfinder can do, let's walk through our prototype. This is the homepage where you can hop into your existing plans of study or create new ones. If you're questioning aspects of your current plan and are curious about new opportunities, you can compare and contrast your plans to optimize your life. To create your first plan, fill in your major, minors, and any of your interests. Add your high school, transfer, and AP credits as well. The first plan of study is automatically generated to optimize your classes to save you the most possible credits for your degree. Our informative user interface is designed for customization and flexibility. Highlighting classes shows information about how that class fits into your schedule or what classes can be replaced with alternatives, and you can drag and drop classes to make changes on the fly. Since everyone has different goals, students can set constraints to prioritize their plan to do things like save the most credits or explore all their interests and everything in between. We'll recommend highly optimized things like extra minors for few to no extra credits and other professional opportunities that work well with your schedule to help kickstart you on a better path. Advisors will also have a portal for the hundreds of students that they work with, can check up, make feedback, and open profiles during meetings to save precious time and enable better discussions with students. With all this and so much more, we believe that the 17 million US undergrad students will get a ton of use and value out of Pathfinder, and it's not just us who believe in it. Over just the past few weeks, we've started to gain a ton of traction, as clearly shown in the amount of landing page views, real student email signups from over 20 different institutions, and lots of social media attention that we've accrued. Now, these 17 million students across 4,300 universities in the US are our total addressable market. The average cost of popular edtech software offerings is approximately $150,000, making a market size of roughly $645 million. To successfully enter this market, we'll initially partner with universities like Purdue University and University of Missouri School System for the first academic year to gain feedback necessary to rapidly develop from beta stages to an enterprise level solution. Later, we'll grow to similar or neighboring universities as we gain more experience and connections in the industry. Competing in this space are players including Ellucian Banner and Hobson Starfish. Ellucian focuses on their course management solutions, and Hobson's on helping already failing students succeed. But Pathfinder provides the best of both worlds with our unique and modern schedule optimizing, proactive student success focused, and collaborative platform. Our last and most important advantage is the team running it all. Including myself, our team consists of co-founder, CTO, and longtime friend Daniel Gallups, graphics and front-end developer Richie Lee, and our mentor Matthew Gunkel, Chief E-Learning Officer of the University of Missouri School System. Matthew recently joined our team, excited to provide us the insider knowledge and connect us to the important people we need in the education tech industry. We're students. We know what students need because we live it every day. We have a passion to help our peers become the best versions of themselves, and we have the plan to make it happen. We're looking for strategic partners with software development resources or connections to opportunities in the ed tech industry to join us in our mission to help every college student find their path. Thank you.
Great, thank you. A question, who is the specific customer, the economic buyer, and how do they pay? Do your customers have this budget allocated? How much would you expect Purdue to pay per year?
Sure, yeah, so our customers, the people who are paying, are the universities themselves. Now, there are a part of every university has a registrar, and they constantly are looking for new softwares to improve their own school and make their school a better value for their students. There's multiple stakeholders. We've identified the students as, the biggest end user, but the universities are the customers. Parents can also be considered a stakeholder. And the cost of products that are currently used today can range anywhere from the large, robust solutions of up to $20 per student, and new entering and innovative products can be somewhere around 50 cents a student. So as you become established and more of a household name, that value and service will increase.
Great, thank you. All right, well, I think that's it for questions. Thank you for pitching. Appreciated that.
Thank
Oh, we
you.
have one more question.
Sure.
What is your revenue plan for Purdue as a customer?
Sure. Yeah. So we've been interviewing with advisors to get feedback on what they want out of a product. Now, because we're in early stage in the ideas, our plan is to continue developing our product and get smaller universities to sign up on a beta program for these letters of intent. We intend to go to EdTech conferences later this year, and with these letters of intent and being positioned where more of the bigger universities like Purdue will come to speak with us, we'll give ourselves that credibility and the experience so that after we've spoken to Purdue University students, Purdue University advisors and students to get that feedback, we'll have the ability to enter that difficult market a lot easier. So that's our plan right now.
Great. And question, do you expect Purdue to pay 50 cents per student per year?
We expect the first year, like I was just saying, when we're onboarding new universities for beta programs, to be either at no cost or cost of servers, so that we can develop our platform and get constant feedback from them. We're not in a state where universities are going to pay that kind of price today, but after a trial run, we expect to be in that 50-cent mark within 12 months. So yeah.
Great. And can a university purchase a specific module to complement their existing systems?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're developing our product to work with IMS standards, which are the standards that most softwares use in the edtech industry. And we're building middlewares to work with current solutions that universities already use to make that switch easier. As we're talking with these universities and refining to see what they want as a feature, we're able to kind of modify on the fly what we want to provide them and use that middleware to work with their solutions and make that transition really easy. So that's our plan. It's pretty much pick and play.
Great, thank you. And
Thank
there
you
is
so much.
some advice in the chat. Thank you for pitching. Next up, we have Team Legacy.
Just real quick, I think it's supposed to be develop right now.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah, there we go.
I know that got mixed up a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. Okay. Take a look at Jill and Joel. They've recently opened a hair salon and employ many skilled hairstylists. They want to get involved in their community while creating a strong reputation for their business. But where do they start? There are plenty of websites that allow them to donate money or spend time volunteering on an unrelated cause, but those don't give them a chance to use their skills to serve their community. Meanwhile, school is about to start up again, and a haircut would boost the confidence of the children at the local children's home. However, the home cannot afford professional haircuts for its residents. How can these two groups connect? Introducing Develop. We're a for-profit social enterprise providing a web-based platform for community groups and small businesses with compatible goals to connect and do social good together. Develop's service follows a simple process: post, search, and connect. Community groups make an account with which they can post projects onto Develop's web platform, explaining what the project scope is and what resources they're looking for. Similarly, businesses create an account describing who they are and which resources they can provide. Each party can then search listings for the other, and once they find an organization with compatible goals, they can reach out to that organization and form a connection. So community groups benefit from using Develop by getting direct access to a centralized hub of businesses that are eager and willing to help them achieve their goals. Small businesses benefit from using Develop by gaining targeted opportunities for high social impact by leveraging what they're already good at to help their community. And since their customer base is composed of community members, the positive public recognition businesses receive from giving back mobilizes their consumers to use their services more. In addition, studies show that over half of consumers are willing to pay more for a product from socially responsible companies. So other social good services such as IOBY and Kiva are focused on crowdfunding money for individuals in underserved communities And services like Volunteer Match and United Way focus on connecting individual volunteers to community groups. In contrast, with Develop, communities have the agency to seek out resources rather than wait for the resources they need to come to them. This contrasts other services like Volunteer Match and United Way, which only allow for individual volunteers to search for community groups to volunteer for. Develop also allows small businesses to contribute in a manner tailored specifically to their expertise, as these businesses can provide something to community groups that individual volunteers cannot. So Develop will charge charge businesses $5 per user per month. And with over 500,000 small businesses in Indiana alone, and over 29 million small businesses in the entire country, there's a total addressable market of over $1.7 billion. There are also over 130,000 community groups using other social good services like Volunteer Match. And it's important to note that community groups will always be able to use Develop service for free. So we'll go to market. We'll begin going to market by facilitating offline connections in the greater Lafayette area. We'll then obtain user feedback to improve our connection process and then transition our pilot users to our online platform. We'll then expand our reach to the entire state, region, and country by hiring additional regional coordinators as staff. For our progress to date, we've received support and feedback by subject matter experts in global development, nonprofits, and community well-being. We've held meetings with the Faith Community Development Corporation, which serves an underserved community in Lafayette, as well as the Purdue Office of Engagement. We've also conducted informational interviews with businesses like Cookie Cutters Haircuts for Kids, which is from the opening example, and Invista. So my name's Paul, and I'm joined on my team by Alessandra, Evan, and Ilana. And what we're looking for is $20,000 as an initial investment opportunity to go towards website improvements and legal services. We're also looking at it for a business advisor to our startup, a partner with web development skills to help build out our website functionality, and mentorship in the social good sector. So if you'd like to get connected with us, here's our email and the link to our landing page. Thank you so much for your time. And do you have any questions?
Great. Thank you for that pitch. You do have a few seconds more if you'd like to, about a minute early for your pitch, if you'd like to hit on something before we move to the Q&A, but it's up to you.
We can open up to questions, so we can have a little bit extra time for that.
Sure. We have a question about given that small businesses have been slammed by the current COVID-19 situation, why would small businesses spring for 45?
Would spring for what? What was the second half of the question?
45 a month.
Oh, okay, $5 per user per month. Okay. So that's a really good point. So with the current pandemic situation hitting small businesses, certainly it's more difficult for businesses to be giving back in a monetary sense. But what we're focusing on right now, I think we're actually at a really good time because we're still in the stage where we're conducting a lot of user interviews to discover what exactly they're looking for in a service like this. And we're going to be able to adapt what specific functionalities are on our service according to what community groups and small businesses are looking for in a time like this. Additionally, as we begin rolling this out on our online platform, we're going to be opening this up for completely free to use for small businesses so that they can still be making those connections with community groups, even without having to pay like a monetary resource for it.
Sure. How many businesses have expressed a willingness to sign up and pay that $5 per month?
Sure. So we've currently, there's the Cookie Cutters example that we used from the beginning. They have expressed willingness to pay that money per month. We are still in the process of talking with other companies to determine what the right going rate is for them at this time.
Sure. And how do you envision funding this during the startup phase?
How do we envision funding this? So the costs that we're primarily looking at are for like web development costs. So just using like WordPress or online building platform, and then also potentially having to pay like developers to help us build out this functionality. And then for like legal fees for like incorporation costs in terms of service and things like that, we're looking for money. So aside from that, we're hoping for investment to go towards those things. But the costs themselves for us building out this website right now are pretty low because we don't have like any staff members necessarily or like a physical prototype to be making.
Great, thank you. You have about 30 seconds left, so I'll give you 30 seconds to kind of wrap up any last words about the company or yourself.
Okay, yeah, great. So our team is, here I can go to our team side. So our team is specifically dedicated to this cause. So we do have some training in global development. Oh, here you can just see the slide here. In global development, and that has a lot of parallels to community development itself. A lot of us are engineers, so we're dedicated to problem solving, and we're quick learners. So we're learning a lot about entrepreneurship, a lot about web development, and I think the trajectory that we put ourselves on to succeed is on the up and up. So thank you so much for your time here. And if you guys have any questions or want to talk to us further, I really encourage you to reach out after this is done.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Legacy. If you guys are ready, you guys can go ahead and share your screen. And make sure, there we go. I believe you're on mute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, we're Legacy. We're the Airbnb of EV Charger. James is an EV charger owner and an EV owner who has registered his house EV charger on an EV charging database. He has also installed so many EV charging apps on his phone. However, on his way to visit his family in Utah, he had to make a difficult choice for charging, either traveling 1.5 hours away from the destination to charge, or travel 2.5 hours closer to the destination, but with a risk of the EV charger dying before arriving. So he's overwhelmed with travel anxiety and inconvenience in finding public charger. So we identified the problem as three things. One is that EV chargers are not available at all locations due to the lack of return on investment in smaller towns. And second, there's user travel anxiety. Traveling across states become very inconvenient. And having to download these multiple apps and still not satisfied with the EV charging creates the customer dissatisfaction. So our solution is to create the Airbnb of EV charging. So people, residential EV charger can be used by other EV owner in the United States. With this, we will have a wider coverage because we're not limited to high traffic locations. And this will become the one-stop solution for all their needs. And with our low capital investment, meaning that people can just register their house charger without having to invest a lot of money, we will have a faster propagation. So we have validated our market through 205 interviews, 45 surveys, and 5 observations. And we also did 3 pivots. And we found there are currently more than 9,000 EV homeowners that have registered their EV chargers on an EV database called PuckShare. However, there isn't any easy way to receive the electricity cost that has been used and a secure way to do this transaction and EV charging needs. So our business model is created from the serviceable market in the United States. There's $504 million just for EV charging platform, and the 5% will be $25.2 million. And we'll be charging 20% service fee from the EV charging. We predict a $2 service fee for a half battery charge. We expect a $6.57 million revenue by the end of 2021 with 9,000 customers. Our adoption strategy is to utilize the EV charging station database and letter of intents that we have gathered through our market validation. And we are currently developing our web app, and we'll do a simulation test in Indiana and expand towards both coasts. And from our market validation, we found that these people, they love green related movements. They are passionate about EV cars. So we will collaborate with green influencers to expand user base. This is our competition matrix. We are the first residential focused EV charging network. Compared to the green, which are the public EV charging stations, we are providing a better number of chargers and a better distribution of chargers. And compared to PlugShare, which is an EV charging database, we are providing a better payment platform and a better customer experience. This is our traction. We have done our market validation and we have gone through 5 different entrepreneurship programs. We have achieved top elite 150 on a global business competition in Singapore and a first runner-up in Radius Indiana pitch competition. We have also received $1,000 funding from the NSF for market validation, $750 from a business competition, and $500 from the Boiler. And we have also incorporated the company, signed NDAs with our key partners. We started our pre-seed fundraising round 2 weeks ago and our web app development. This is our 2-year action plan. Following our pre-seed fundraising round and our mobile web app development, we are starting our mobile app development in October and our seed fundraising round and hardware development and launching in the following year. We have me as the junior in cybersecurity and Dewey in chemical engineering with an extensive energy research with an advisor, Dr. Matthew Lionel, who is a professor in Purdue School of Management. We're asking $201,700,000 to build our mobile and network application and sustain a 12-month period. This is the amount that we're asking for our pre-seed fundraising round. This concludes my presentation. I'm Lynn. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn. The floor is now open for any questions to come in. We have a question. What is your short-term goals?
Yes, our short-term goals is to finish our pilot simulation test in Indiana, which we will cover the whole state. We have talked to more than 100 customers and we have a few they'll be willing to be on our platform. That'll be our short-term goal.
Can you go into more details about your Indiana pilot?
Yes. So we are currently creating a web app. Will be done in 3 more weeks. We will acquire customers to our web applications, and EV owner can register their house charger to our web app application, and other EV owner can charge their EV cars in these houses. And the provider will get money, like a virtual account like Venmo, and then they can go around and charge their EV car on other people's house with the money they receive. It's basically creating a social network for people to charge and provide charging.
Great. Any insights into markets outside the US that may be attractive? Europe, China, others?
Yes. There is currently a residential focused EV charging network in England, but I believe yes, we are looking into expanding to China and Asian countries after we finish expanding in the United States.
Can you tell us about the supply, those providing charging? How do they get money, and do they need to be home?
Yes, the payment transaction would be a verification method between the provider and the user. This will simplify the back end for a while, and it will be based on the electricity cost, which will vary depending on the states and the time and the location. They do not need to be home. It depends on their own requirements.
Sure. What are your estimated customer acquisition costs?
Can you elaborate more on that question? Are you asking on how much to acquire one customer? Yeah. I'm not sure what you're asking. Sorry.
Okay. We can move on to the next question. Could you review the economics? Several EV networks are not charging a fee. Electrons are cheap. how do you capture value from charging when it is so cheap?
Yeah, going back to our business model, we're actually waiting for our pilot simulation test in Indiana, and we may adopt based on a power-based, time-based, or a subscription business model, depending on what the customer wants with a rapid iteration with the customers. But 20% is a benchmark that we have seen based on an analysis on the existing public EV charger. Yes, there is EV networks that doesn't charge a fee, but there are a lot more that charge a fee.
Okay, and we have the last question here. The competitive chart is quite busy. Why do you guys stand out?
Yes, we stand out with our distribution charger. We are not limited to high traffic locations because we don't need to build our own infrastructure. And that's what makes us will propagate faster than public EV charging companies.
Okay, there are a few more questions in the chat, but please message them directly to respond. That's the end of our QA session for your team.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you for pitching. We're now down to our final three teams. Next up, we have ProRep.
Yes, can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. We're just waiting for the screen share to be allowed.
Sure. I'm gonna. There you go.
There we go. Awesome. Where's this? Oh, you got it too? Okay. All right. Hi there, everyone. My name is Nicholas Block, and this is my co-founder, Kyle Poroznik. And we are the CEO and Chief Operations Officer of ProRep Aerial Solutions. So at ProRep, we utilize a network of professional pilots and video production specialists to develop marketing materials and analytics for those looking to gain an aerial solution and perspective of their operations. So here you can see are some examples of our work. We do work in real estate, in agriculture, construction, technical inspections, that kind of thing. And we'll talk a bit more about these industries later, but we just kind of wanted to show you some examples of what we've been working on so far. So moving into our product itself, our product is not something that we can just go and sell to everybody. It's a very tailored and special solution per client. So when we prepare for a job, we go through and make sure that every job is legal. We talk with our compliance officer, and then that compliance officer will then dispatch our pilots. Our pilots go out, they film a job, they collect whatever data is necessary, get all their photos and videos, and then they send it on to the productions team. And the productions team compiles all these photos, videos, data points into a technical report, into marketing materials, videos, photo albums, that sort of thing. So moving on into our available markets, in 2020, the IBIS World Report determined that the drone market is worth $4.7 billion, and we've narrowed down the 5 most critical aspects of that market to work on first. So as you can see, these are our 5 that we're starting with, and moving on to our 5 markets here, you can see our breakdown. So we spend about 35% of our time working on construction-related items. The next highest one would be autonomous systems. So that's building things for maybe something where you could do inspections without a pilot, or you could do deliveries or something like that. So we're spending some time doing research and development for that. The next 2 would be agriculture and technical inspections. We can do work with assessing crop yield, making sure that floodplains are proper, doing surveys. We can also check out, wind turbines, cell towers, and that kind of thing in inspections. So the key to ProRep is our people. We have a fantastic team that we're continuously growing, and they really define our company. So we have our people broken down into 4 particular categories. The executive team would be the 2 of us, as well as our marketing people and our compliance officers. And then moving down to our regional sales teams and pilots, those are per location. We're actually currently working in 4 locations across the country, and are hoping to expand as we go. And then the final group are the production specialists. They do all of our video editing and our analytics and that kind of thing. So all of our hiring currently is done through Indeed. We put out job postings in all the different locations, and we use commission to have a very low overhead. Now, the nice thing about commission-based payment is it's a low risk to us. If someone decides they no longer want to work for us, we don't have a contract that we have to keep going through. And the contractors themselves actually have an unlimited earning potential, which is a great upside for them. Now I'm going to hand it off to Kyle to talk about growth automation.
Sure. So as Nick was just saying, we try to keep everything very streamlined and try to keep the overhead extremely low. perfect example is times like right now with the coronavirus. You know, it hasn't really affected business much. We're not hurting financially because of it. We're actually hiring in our sales department right now in 2 of the 4 locations. So those are all bonuses on that front. As you were saying earlier, we have built our regional sales director positions as well as the pilots and the operations directors to be very scalable. We moved, you know, we did put up 4 locations in about a year and a couple months. So it works. It's very easy to scale. Now, one of the other things that we really think is important is our strategic partnerships. So we don't, you know, we're not good at everything. We don't do it the best. Procore, for example, is a construction management platform. The drone images and mapping are easily integrated into their platform, so everybody has access to it. They're a global company with about 2,000 employees, and we're their only drone service provider partner. Kind of our accelerating growth, our autonomous systems research and development is important. Dedicated pilot and sales recruiters for new locations, that's something we're looking at getting. Would like to kind of grow into that. Some capital would be nice so we can provide clients with some added value deals. We don't really like to discount things, but we do throw extra video in or an extra deliverable. Targeted marketing and networking campaigns are always beneficial. As far as the investment opportunity in ProRep, we have put it at $100,000 for a 5% equity in our company. You know, obviously the money is good, and then the other thing is looking for somebody who's knowledgeable and can help accelerate ProRep's growth. So thank you very much.
Any questions at this time?
Great. Thank you for pitching. The floor is now open for questions. Looks like we have a question. For inspections, including infrastructure and constructions, have you explored Vision Aerial in Bozeman, MT as a strategic partner?
We have not. No.
I will say that we do have other strategic partners within that realm so far. We're looking to kind of build up those partnerships and work our way out. We haven't worked in Montana yet, but we'll definitely write that down and reach out to them.
Great, thanks. Question, how does this scale?
Sure. So that's a pretty general question. However, the main things that we focus on as far as scaling is the sales team. Obviously, that's very important as far as jobs and getting them. And then the pilots. You know, there's a huge abundance of pilots in this industry. Now, we have a pretty high standard as far as who can actually be a pilot for ProRep. There's a certain amount of hours that you need, as well as insurance and things like that. But that's really the thing that allows us to scale so quickly. You know, all of our people are contractors. All of the tools that they need are cloud-based. So the CRM tool, the invoicing, all that type of stuff, they can access it from any device anywhere in the world. All they need is an account, which makes it very, very easy to just add people, get them onboarded, and get them rolling.
Sure, thanks. Can you elaborate more on the valuation, especially about the $100,000 for 5%?
Sure. Yeah, so the autonomous systems market right now is extremely lucrative. We're working with an overseas oil and gas company to get some stuff put in for them. Yeah, there's an example. That's really where that valuation comes from, I guess, in short.
We're looking at providing a system that we can sell to a number of drone provider companies from overseas that will have that system researched and developed and everything. And then we can sell that in numerous countries, hopefully bring it to the United States someday, if the drone laws allow us to do that someday.
Great. Could you provide an example of a case study in agriculture? What data did you collect? Who did you collect it for? And any customer feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. So There's a wholesale nursery company out in Hampshire, Illinois, that we did some work for. They were, nurseries are a little bit different than row crop. They have a lot of terraces and things. You actually go, so the top right-hand picture there, with the red and a little bit of green, that was an example map that we did for them. They were really interested in the drainage data. So elevation is what that came down to. So basically where you end up with a blue point, like on these pictures, on the top right picture here, the darkest blue is the lowest point in that map. That's where the water is going to collect. So being able to make sure that there's a drain in place there is extremely important for them. Some of their ponds got so big that they would lose, 50 to 60 trees, which for them, depending on what stage they're in, it could be a $30,000 or a $40,000 savings there in just loss. So I think we charge them, $1,200 to go out there and do that. So well worth the time and the capital for them.
Great. And last question, if you could answer quickly. Are you able to help with pilot training? Is finding qualified pilots to fulfill demand a challenge?
So we do a lot of work with pilot training. We actually have an onboarding program that we're currently using Google Classroom for. And we have a process management expert up here in the Chicago area where we currently live. And his whole job is to make sure that our pilots are, good pilots as far as being safe, but also good pilots as far as being artistic in their shots. They know where to go to get the right shots and know how to film in a way that's going to be visually appealing for our clients.
One of the other things that we've done in that arena that's a little bit different, but still applies. We're working with some organizations. Lawndale Christian Legal Center would be one of them, out of the Lawndale neighborhood in Chicago. They take kids off the streets and provide them job training. All the major unions in construction and things are partners with them as well. So that's another thing that we've started to do, to train kind of the future pilots, show people that it's a real job opportunity. They're seeing about an $80,000 to $85,000 a year salary coming into this industry right now, as far as pilots are concerned. Sales is a little bit different, but so it's showing that this is definitely an up and coming job opportunity.
Great. Thank you guys for pitching and answering those questions. Moving on to our next pitch here. Our next pitch is from Flea. You guys, when you're ready to go, you can share your screen.
All right. All right, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome. All right, this is Flea. My name is Jordan Lay, and I'm the founder of Flea. Flea is an online platform that maximizes the unique inventory of brands, boutiques, and artists. The problem that we're trying to approach today is the closing and the bankruptcy of outlet malls, department stores, and storefronts. The most recent one being Neiman Marcus. They're filing for bankruptcy as we speak. Due to that, there is a lack of selection in unique, authentic items, price variability, and accessibility. Our solution that we're providing is growing a business for boutiques, artists, and designers, a fluid e-commerce shopping ecosystem that helps customers have selection and voicing with their product. Entrepreneurs then help artists grow their business. On the right-hand side, you'll see that this is on a home screen, and this is where we have customers come in and view the products. And at the bottom, you'll see comments and selections. Those comments are live feeds that will be directed towards boutiques. And that's just a little example of how we'll be able to create that system of commenting and boutiques getting feedback from the products. How it works, companies will upload their inventories to the app. And from there, they will target locations where they want their items to be promoted. And then From there, the app will automatically apply those to the customers that are filling those requirements, whether it's the sizes or the particular item being a boutique or streetwear brand. Going into our market validation, this will be on the right-hand side. You will see this is the home thing. And from there, they'll be able to swipe left to right from boutique brands that's from Florida or Chicago or LA, and they'll be able to see those all within one home screen application. Going into our market validation, Stitch Fix is right now at 2.9 million active customers. That means that they're shopping, interacting, and selling on the app. And 50% of e-commerce is conducted through Amazon. So that means fashion and all types of different markets are all conducting on Amazon. And just going into the fashion market and the market size for e-commerce, B2C, just last year, they were reaching to $620 billion in 2019. Going into our business model, keeping it simple. Each sale, we will take 7% of commission of gross sales of each inventory drop and a service fee on each transaction being made. Our marketing monetization to the app on the right-hand side, that's an example of when you swipe left and right, there'll be different ads popping up through each item being swiped through. And a B2B commerce portal, separate portal where different businesses will be able to shop and sell within each other. So wholesaling and data. So data being through the app, we'll have surveys through the app that customers will be able to fill out, and we'll be able to sell those things to the boutiques and let them know where potential advantages may lie. Our current traction right now, where we're at, we just received a grant from Purdue Northwest CMAC, a C2C grant, which allows us to finish developing our beta app. Our beta app is currently in progress right now. We participated in the Purdue iCore Customer Discovery Program, top 32 business model mass competition. We were featured on WJOB Radio and are currently at 50 clientele with boutiques, artists, and brands that are looking to partner with our app. Right now, we're looking for angel investors that are looking to look at our vision and see our vision, so that we can go to the next steps and start scaling our business. Thank you, and that's it. And we'll open up for questions.
Great, thank you for the pitch. We have a question. How are the boutiques you are talking to handle the next few months to drive sales? And how can Flea help?
All right, so going back to our example screen. So right now in the current storefront, you'll see about an average of 20 to 100 customers coming in, being able to view their products. To take those 200 customers that are viewing their products to about 250 to 500 viewers viewing their products. So when we release our app, we're going to have at least about 2,500 users on there when we just release out and we're marketing and promoting. And through those 2,500 users, we'll be able to scale out and filter out people that will attach to their inventory models, so that it's not necessarily you just put it on a website and they have to go find it. It's going to automatically go to that customer that are filling out those requirements of that drop. So if it's a small, medium, and they're looking for a streetwear brand, it's automatically going to go to a section of boutiques that fill those requirements. So each time that they're uploading items is automatically going to be seen through people who are filling out those requirements, which helps promote sales.
Okay, cool, thank you. Okay, I'm not sure if there's any other questions, but I would like to give you about 30 seconds or so. Any last words, any finishing things you would like to mention?
Well, it was an awesome experience. This has been a great opportunity. And again, if there's any investor or angel investor that was looking at the opportunity and sees the vision, I definitely want to talk to a business advisor as well that sees the vision as well, so we can continue to grow our business.
Great. Thank you so much, Flea.
Thank you.
All right. Now for our last pitch of the day. we have Team Yodel. I see you guys are ready to go. You can start whenever. Thank you. Looks like you guys are muted. I'm going to unmute you. Here you go.
Yep. Hello, everyone. I am Shangjing, a co-founder of Yodel. So before we go into the presentations, have you been feeling that you're turning into couch potatoes due to work from home policies? If you are, you may be able to give a hand. Do you know that karaoke actually enforces aerobic activity? From simple lung exercise of inhaling and exhaling oxygens to few dance movements. You'll keep your organs working. Moreover, it's commonly known as one of the best ways to reduce your stress. Last but not least, the nature of karaoke makes you bring your angelic voice outside that building courage is without doubts. The IBIS World Database shows there is a total of $761 million revenues for physical karaoke bars in the US. Famous karaoke-related apps such as Socio and TikTok have 101 and $176.9 million. From those numbers, there seems to be a gap we could explore into. So what's the gap? Well, we have conducted a survey with 63 people. Most people think the real karaoke is too expensive, and some other people think it's just too limited and uncreative because karaoke does not allow singers to come up with their own version of songs or creation as a whole. We are Yodel, a music collaboration service with an inspiration rooting from karaoke. The intent is to combine the community's aspects of social medias with the music and creativity of karaoke into one place, either as professional artists or shower singers. To simplify it, we have two main features. Upload a video of playing instruments, sing along with uploaded music. This is the mobile applications we have built so far on iOS platform. As we can see on the first picture, as the home screen. Users will be able to select the artist, album, genres, and so on. After picking a particular song on the second picture, the users can dive right into performing as in the third picture. Here, they can select whether they're uploading instrumental or singing portions of the song. So after uploading this done, the videos can be found on profile in the first picture, which can also be seen as a timeline. There will also be a feed page in the second picture where the features videos from friends or popular videos can be explored. We have interviewed 20 people. Based on their feedback, they all hope to have a stronger connections with the social media they're using. Our goal is to set up a music community where people can actually enjoy casual karaoke with friends or raise someone's inner celebrity, even for just one song. The potential of this community is limitless. We can even start considering establishing channels for individuals to use it as their career, like YouTube, or even add a competitive side to the relaxing karaoke experiences. Currently, we have 6 members in our team, with 2 of us working on operational and financial aspects. The rest is dedicated to tech side, which is our biggest strength in bringing ourselves this far within only 2 months. Being a Purdue student-based team, we want to take advantage of our network and spread the app on Purdue ground first. Our goal is to gain exponential user growth towards all general public through mouth-to-mouth and other ways of marketing strategies. We aim to get 1,000 users by the end of 1 year period. We are expanding our main income from subscription plans and aiming up to 50% of our total income. We'll also offer analytics surveys and advertisements once our user base has been expanded. The market we are entering can be seen as following. Yodel is an online platform that has features to support both music creations and social music aspects. There will be typical karaoke arts and music studios here on the offline side. Most well-known social music apps such as Socio and TikTok can be found here. As it is now, most of our cost is going into software services such as database and clouds. It is within reasonable cost that we are not looking for investment yet. However, we're actively seeking for mentorship for people passionate in this field, or advice that can keep our team moving forward. Thanks for your time, and we're open up for questions.
Great. Thank you. We have a question. TikTok is popular with teenagers. What is your target market and how will you stand out?
Okay. So based on our research, we found that the music streaming and the social media platform is actually most popular within a range of people from age 18 to age 35. So this will also be our targeted audience. And why we were different from other apps is that Simeo and TikTok, they are more specialized in social media aspects, and they will actually allow people to upload all kinds of videos, and you can probably upload videos about your products or about your not only music but also dance. But our app will actually specialize in musicians and artists who are actually want to make covers, make their own unique covers for a special songs. And we want to create a community that will allow users and musicians to have their own channels and their own followers. And they probably can use these channels as another platform to attract other users or advertise for other business as well.
Great, thank you. The question, do you have a demo?
Yes, we do. We do have a demo, and our app developer will show you the demo.
Would you mind skipping to the next question first? I need to share my screen on my phone, so it will take 10 seconds of setup.
Sure. Okay, cool. We have a question. Is Yodel hurt or supported by people staying at home due to the pandemic?
Sorry, could you repeat the questions again?
Sure. Is Yodel hurt or kind of supported or helped by people stuck at home during the pandemic?
Yes, definitely. Our next move is actually to use this time, because the coronavirus issue, and we want to use this time to start an advertisement campaign in the next move. And so we can actually attract more users. And it will be beneficial for users who stuck at home and has to have no other entertainments as well. And here's our demo.
Great.
Yeah.
There we go. Looks like you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so this will be our demo. As Shanjian described earlier, is there an echo by any chance?
Yes, there is.
What about now?
Yeah, there's still a small echo.
If we go to the home screen, there will be a selection of artists and genre and playlists. And then after selecting a particular one, we can go to the selected song and go into there. And there will be, now that I'm sharing my screen, I cannot see my own video because the video is being covered. Otherwise, we can select into vocal and instrument and upload into it. If we actually do a selection, and this is just me testing our product. And if we go to our feed, we can also see the picture of our friends or other people that we are connected to showing the thing. So this is a really quick demo.
Great, thank you for that. Okay, cool. Looks like that is all the questions. That was our last pitch. We're gonna do a quick wrap up here in just a moment. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. All right. All right. I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who attended the demo day today. Our team from the Anvil really appreciates everyone coming out and spending some time to listen to these teams and provide really valuable feedback. I did wanted to add the contact information for each of the teams is going to be pasted in the chat if it isn't already. This includes, there it is. There is a Notion link as well that was sent out via email that has all the team information. The link is on the screen as well, that bit.ly link. There you can join. Some of the teams are having Zoom rooms right now, which you can join and ask any specific questions. And we'd appreciate any feedback for the teams listed on that link, the bit.ly team feedback link. I wanted to mention as well the two teams that Anvil is working with, Glimpse and Ladder. Contact information is for that as well is on the Notion. And if anyone has any suggestions, any inquiries, or would like to collaborate with the Anvil, please let us know. Our email is contact@anvilstartups.com. Great. Well, that is it from us. Our team is going to be on the call for the next 10-15 minutes or so if everyone has any specific questions or comments. But that kind of concludes the demo day for 2020. Thank you so much, and everyone, thanks for coming.